Would have prehistoric people have felt the same dopamine hit when they acquired a new item than the one we get when we buy something? I'm in a slightly unique position to answer this as it falls into cognitive neuroanthropology, archaeology, which is my specific weird mix of academic interests. In short, it depends on the context, but the activities you listed are not likely comparable neurochemically to going to the supermarket. Dopamine is not something you get hits of. This is common misconception in pop science and the cultural understanding of the brain, but dopamine is less a reward chemical and more a reward prediction, motivation chemical that keeps you going in a current activity to achieve a desired outcome. More on why this is important later. Shopping is an utterly different environment than anything our ancestors experienced. Functionally, our ancestors in the era that you are referring to would quite certainly not have reacted much differently to them today, assuming they were born into our society and exposed to the various commodities and stimulus we are, as they would have reached cognitive modernity, baseline, and present human anatomical structure of the brain long before. If they were transported to our environment and suddenly exposed to a supermarket, it would likely be overstimulating, and dopamine would not be the only neurotransmitter to overexpress itself initially, and then their synapses would adjust, and in turn the longer the person lives in the environment, the more they would get used to it. This has actually happened with the few populations we have studied before, though I need to check my sources on who they are as I forget. What has this meant for how they felt when doing activities? This is hard to say as it's subjective, but I would argue that going to the supermarket today inspires less a feeling than trade or hunting food long ago because the activities are so different. Your neurons will likely fire comparatively much more or much more sensitivity received. Dopamine in pursuit of a goal that is harder, such as motivating the sustained social cognition and linguistic recall to gain a desired outcome from haggling. This is in contrast to shopping, which is a fixed price and requires little thought aside from the microeconomics of do I want it? Can I afford it? Is it worth it? So while the supermarket man has likely been overexposed to stimulating marketing and small choices their whole life, the baseline means that driving to the supermarket and buying a fake bouquet is likely less interesting or motivating to him than, say, traveling to Thailand and haggling down a vendor for a hand-carved soap flower. Which situation would you probably remember better? Wonderful answer. Thank you. You talk about the modern shopping experience, but not as much about the other side of the comparison. The OP compares shopping to prehistoric trading and acquiring, but I would think that trading is loaded with social context that varies by culture, right? For example, as I understand it, in some cultures there is no real internal trading, just gifting. So it's hard to compare modern experience to prehistoric people as a block. You're absolutely correct. I will give myself some credit and say that there were generalizations to be made in service of a generalized questions. I would say that broadly a cultural act of exchange is cognitively engaging in big part due to the process of finding it or making the thing you are trading, though this process is highly variable. There are many cases where the person with the desirable commodity did not bear the cognitive load of acquiring it, i.e. someone else got it or made it for them. In these cases, if there is a reasonable selection of things or a society in which a currency is used, it is comparable to more familiar activities like shopping in a market. The key being not the type of person doing something, but the activity they are doing, which, as you point out, varies widely across culture and time. I aimed the answer of my question mainly at prehistoric humans practicing trade before currency, but not before credit. To find out if many of these things are comparable cognitively and neurochemically, we'd both probably have to scrap for fMRI and cross-cultural psych studies related to them.